I've mentioned before, my goal with each build that I do is to make something new, unique that you probably haven't seen before, at least in gel blaster form. So what I did here is this was a kit for airsoft, obviously, for the ADAR-45. I guess it's used in, there was a popular video game called Escape from Turok, and this was a popular weapon in it. I've never been a big gamer, so I don't know much about that, but when I was doing some quick research, that's what I found. But the ADAR-45 is a Russian weapon that is somehow actually based on the AK-47. But the way this kit worked, I knew I'd be able to go ahead and modify it and have it work nicely with an M4 receiver. So that's what I went with here. We got an M4a1 Gen 8 receiver, upgraded spring, and upgraded barrel on this one, I believe. Sometimes I forget which ones I put springs in, but I know I put an upgraded barrel, a metal barrel, and I believe I put a spring in there too. But of course, we'll just see when we do the FPS test and see the performance on it, and we'll be able to kind of judge that a little better as to what was done. But this is supposed to look, you know, kind of like wood furniture, right? So this is a different color brown than that tan, that desert tan. This is actually called a nutmeg. I thought it was the closest one to looking like wood. If you go with a really dark brown, then it doesn't differentiate as much from the black. And I wasn't going to try to mess with putting wood grain on there and doing that type of decorative painting, just because that's not what I'm into doing. So the stock on the true ADAR-45 actually comes down and connects and has the grip involved. Of course, that doesn't work well with this type of Gen 8 receiver. So I modified the stock so that pieces were cut and that it's just got this, you know, kind of angle right here, but the battery resides in that buffer tube. And then, you know, the stock is just tightened up right here. I use these little M4 heat inserts instead of rivet nuts, and those actually work better. I just have not known about those before. They're kind of intended for 3D printing. And let me grab one here to show you what those look like. They're just tiny little pieces here. And you can use a little attachment to a soldering gun and insert these in, and then they just kind of grip in there, and it allows you to then screw in this case, an M4. You could also get them for M5s, M3, different size nuts and bolts. But that works out great. So that's what I'll start using for my, anytime I need to have some type of screw down lock like that for stocks primarily, but you could also use it for connecting pieces. So that was pretty cool. Just, you know, I'm sure they've been out there for a long time. I just wasn't aware of them. So the battery's back here. I also thought I'd make a stock like this, right? Kind of more your standard stock, because I had a bunch of these laying around from the Anstoy AK-47s, and I don't really have those anymore. And I don't have much to do with these pieces, but they're nice stocks. So I wanted to go ahead and incorporate them where I could. So I was able to, due to a friend who made this type of attachment for some buffer tube stocks, I was able to take that, modify it, and make it work here with this. So then you can go ahead and you could put this stock on and have the battery reside in here as well. So I thought that would look nice with this blaster. So I went ahead and painted one out that shows how that looks. Otherwise, you know, looking at the top, the handguard, you can see there, went with this, actually is from an M4a1, took it off, made sure it fit nicely. And then we've got a threaded tip here and just went with kind of more traditional orange tip on there that I had from before. But of course you could change that out, do something different with it, but trying to keep it more, you know, again, specific to this blaster and not put something crazy on there with this one. Just a very small kind of riser that's, you know, nothing too crazy, just because I figured I should put something on there and I wanted to. And then we got a little, you know, foregrip on the little Picatinny rail that I added to the bottom of the handguard. So that's my ADAR-45. If you're familiar with the video game, post in the comments, let me know about it. Apparently it was big at one point, Escape from Turok. Maybe not, but there's several different airsoft models of this ADAR-45 on different free websites for STLs for 3D printing. So it must have been, I guess, somewhat popular at a time. But I really like how it turned out. Definitely different than anything else I've made. Definitely a little more simple, more traditional. So for some of you guys who are into that, hopefully you like it. Comments or questions, post them below. Of course, like, subscribe, share my channel with your friends, and make sure you participate in those monthly giveaways. And check back. We'll do a demonstration with it. We'll test the FPS on it, and we'll see where it ended up. Thanks.